Buried beneath the sands of the Egyptian desert lie 25 massive granite sarcophagi, each weighing up to 100 tons. To this day, no modern engineer anywhere in the world can explain how they were crafted. Further east, in India, an imposing iron pillar has endured for 16 centuries without a speck of rust, whereas even the most advanced contemporary steel succumbs to the ravages of time and environment within a few years. And in Iraq, a device resembling an electric battery was unearthed, created 2,000 years before Alessandro Volta introduced his groundbreaking invention. These extraordinary artifacts, with their timeless sophistication and technology, directly contradict what we are routinely taught in textbooks. This is likely because those books were penned by individuals who never had the chance to witness or truly grasp their profound magnificence. Today, we will delve into 7 verifiable archaeological discoveries, each seemingly an item misplaced by travelers from the future, defying all conventional logic. Our journey begins with the heaviest mystery, both figuratively and literally. What's truly astonishing is that all 7 of these artifacts are tangible. You can touch and feel them with your own hands. Each is preserved in reputable museums, serving as vivid, undeniable proof of their existence. And each, simply by its silent presence, shatters the familiar narrative of the past that we have long believed. Egypt, Saqqara, 1850 AD. On a scorching morning, French archaeologist Auguste Mariette was diligently at work when he stumbled upon a stone sphinx emerging from the vast expanse of sand, located northwest of the Djoser Pyramid. A thrill surged through him as he realized this was merely the beginning. After many arduous days of excavation, a long avenue lined with similar sphinx statues gradually came into view, leading to the entrance of a mysterious underground structure. As Mariette's team attempted to penetrate deeper, they encountered entirely sealed passages. With no other recourse, the thunderous roar of dynamite shattered the millennia-long silence of the earth. Beyond the crumbled stone walls, a massive labyrinth unfolded, featuring extensive, dark tunnels carved directly into solid limestone. Within the largest chamber of this labyrinth, lining both sides of the corridors, 25 colossal sarcophagi made of black and pink granite stood like giant sentinels. Each sarcophagus measured approximately 4 meters long, 5 meters wide, and over 3 meters high. The lid alone weighed 30 tons, bringing the total mass of each sarcophagus to nearly 100 tons. This is equivalent to a fully loaded freight train car, hidden within a narrow underground alcove, a place where their movement seemed utterly impossible. Mariette employed explosives to open one of the sarcophagi. Yet, what he and the rest of the world subsequently discovered proved even more shocking than anticipated. It was completely empty. There was nothing inside but perfectly polished stone walls. Mainstream science identifies the site as the Serapeum, and asserts it was the burial place for the sacred Apis bulls. The problem, however, is that not a single open sarcophagus bore any trace of bulls, nor was there any evidence of mummification. Instead, something far more unsettling than mummies was found: the inhuman precision of the stone craftsmanship. Let's leave the enigmatic tunnels of Egypt behind and plunge beneath the Mediterranean Sea. In 1901, a group of Greek sponge divers encountered a severe storm near the island of Antikythera. To make good use of their precious time, the captain decided to send a diver down to survey the seabed. When he resurfaced, his face pale with terror, he shouted about dead bodies, lying 60 meters deep. The captain dove down himself and realized it wasn't a graveyard, but the wreck of an ancient Roman ship that had sunk around 5 BC. The dead bodies were actually marble statues that had been buried in the seabed for 2 millennia. Amidst the sculptures and countless ancient coins, a rough, rather unremarkable gray bronze block lay hidden. For the next 2 years, the bronze block gathered dust in a box at the National Archaeological Museum of Athens, largely forgotten. Until a politician named Spiridon Stays happened to notice a small crack on its surface. Inside, a tiny, perfectly cut gear shimmered into view, within an object more than 2,000 years old. Newspapers of the era reported a sensational discovery, while skeptics loudly dismissed it as an elaborate hoax. However, X-ray computed tomography scans in the 2000s set the record straight. Inside the bronze block was a complex system of 37 bronze gears, the largest of which was 13 centimeters in diameter with 223 teeth. This device, about the size of a modern laptop, was designed to calculate the positions of the Sun, Moon, and the 5 known planets of that era. It could also predict solar and lunar eclipses, track the cycles of the Olympic Games, and display the phases of the Moon. The precision of this mechanism's calculations was only matched by European science 1,500 years later. The mechanism even accounted for the Moon's acceleration and deceleration at different parts of its elliptical orbit. While the Greeks encased the heavens in a bronze box, Indian blacksmiths, at the same time, were mastering iron. In the courtyard of the Quat al-Islam Mosque in Delhi, an imposing pillar stands 7.2 meters tall and weighs over 6 tons. A Sanskrit inscription on the column attributes its creation to King Chandragupta II of the Gupta dynasty, around the 4th century AD. For 16 centuries, this pillar has stood beneath the open sky, enduring torrential monsoon rains and India's scorching sun. Yet, its surface shows almost no signs of rust. While ordinary iron in Delhi's climate would corrode and become fully rusted within a few years, the famous Eiffel Tower, for instance, must be repainted every 7 years to combat the harsh weather. In the 18th century, a cannonball struck this pillar, but it defiantly held its ground, leaving only a small dent at a height of 4 meters. The mystery of the iron pillar has been a subject of study since 1912, when British chemists first took samples for analysis. The definitive answer emerged 91 years later, when Professor Balasubramanian from the Indian Institute of Technology Kanpur published his research. His team used advanced techniques such as X-ray diffraction, electrochemical testing, and microscopy to finally understand what was occurring on the metal's surface. The pillar's iron contains about 1% phosphorus but is almost entirely free of sulfur and magnesium. This unique composition triggered the formation of a crystalline iron phosphate film, roughly 1/20th millimeter thick, on the surface. This film acts as an invisible shield, self-healing minor cracks during each wet and dry cycle. Essentially, the ancient blacksmiths had created a natural version of stainless steel, 15 centuries before stainless steel was officially invented. They utilized a forge welding technique, heating and working the iron in a way that retained phosphorus without any measuring equipment or textbooks. The Indians had conquered iron, and the Romans, in the 4th century AD, conquered light. In the British Museum, securely protected behind bulletproof glass, is the Lycurgus cup, the sole intact specimen of ancient dichroic glass technology. If light shines from the front, the cup appears in shimmering jade green. But if light passes through the cup's walls from behind, it glows with a vibrant ruby red. The cup's surface is carved with a mythological scene, King Lycurgus ensnared in winding grapevines, while the wine god Dionysus calmly observes his demise. The carving technique is known as a cage cup, where glass is cast as a thick block, then intricately cut to form a hollow, reticulated network. But the magic of the color change lies not in the exquisite carvings, but within the very structure of the glass itself. This mystery was only solved in the 1990s, when fragments of similar Roman cups were examined under an electron microscope. Inside, scientists discovered microscopic particles of gold and silver alloy, measuring about 50 nanometers, 1,000 times smaller than a grain of salt. When light strikes these tiny metal particles, the metal's electrons begin to oscillate and change wavelength. Silver is responsible for producing the green color when reflected, while gold creates the vibrant red when light passes through. This effect is known as plasmon resonance, and today it is applied in sensors and holography technology. Roman artisans ground gold and silver into particles invisible to the naked eye and melted them into the glass in a mysterious proportion. Scientists from the University of Cambridge, as recently as 2014, were only able to recreate a similar effect by creating arrays of 16 million nanoparticles per square millimeter. The Romans achieved this 16 centuries earlier, without microscopes, without lasers, without optics textbooks. The Romans controlled light, and their contemporaries in the East, perhaps, controlled electricity. In 1936, during the construction of a railway line near Baghdad, workers accidentally unearthed an ancient burial site. The location was near the ruins of Ctesiphon, the capital of the Parthian Empire. Among the discoveries was a 14 centimeters tall ceramic jar, inside which lay a copper cylinder. In the center of the cylinder, An iron rod was suspended, not touching the sides of the jar, and the mouth of the jar was sealed with an asphalt stopper. Wilhelm Koenig, director of the National Museum of Iraq, immediately recognized this as the structure of a galvanic cell, two metals with different electrochemical potentials, separated by a space for a liquid electrolyte. Traces of corrosion on the jar's interior suggested the presence of an acid, very likely vinegar or grape juice. American scientist Willard Gray built an exact replica and filled it with grape juice. The device indeed generated an electric current. Such a device could produce about 1 volt, and multiple jars connected in series could generate enough current to gold-plate jewelry. Similar jars were also found in nearby Seleucia, alongside copper and iron needles. The Roman physician Scribonius Largus, in the 1st century AD, once described how to cure gout by placing an electric ray fish on a patient's foot. The idea of using electricity in medicine was familiar to the ancient world long before science gave it a name. The Baghdad battery predates Volta's official invention by at least 16 centuries. In 2003, this battery was stolen from the museum during the invasion of Iraq, and its fate remains unknown to this day. We have lost, perhaps, the oldest electrical device in history and are now unable to conduct modern analysis. Let's return to Egypt, but this time to an object that could comfortably sit on a dinner table and looks exactly like a component from a modern mechanical workshop. Also in 1936, archaeologist Walter Emery excavated the tomb of official Sabu at the Saqqara necropolis. Beside the skeleton lay a broken stone disc, 61 centimeters in diameter. It was cut from metasiltstone, a brittle type of rock that easily crumbles with any slight impact. 3 curved blades converged at a central hub, and from above, the disc looked precisely like an impeller from a modern industrial pump. The tomb's age dates to approximately 5,000 years ago, belonging to Egypt's first dynasty, when tools were made of stone and soft copper. How could such delicate blades be carved from a rock that shatters with a mere touch, without a single chip? No one can explain it. An enthusiast 3D printed a replica of the disc and placed it within a casing with a rotating shaft. The replica began to pump water powerfully, functioning as a classic centrifugal impeller. Even without the casing, this rotating disc created a stable vortex with such force that it could not be considered a coincidental shape. Airbus engineers also printed replicas and confirmed its aerodynamic properties, though the disc could not function as an aircraft propeller. Egyptologist Cyril Aldred noted that the disc's form suggests it is a copy of a much older metal prototype. If the Sabu disc is indeed a model of a lost mechanism, then we stand before the remnants of an engineering mindset that vanished before history was ever recorded. 5,000 years ago, someone in the Nile Valley knew how to pump water using centrifugal force, and then that knowledge dissipated into the sand along with the name of its creator. Our final marvel isn't concealed underground but proudly displayed, drawing thousands of visitors daily to the vicinity of Xi'an, China. In 1974, farmers digging a well unearthed fragments of a clay figure by chance. Engineer Christopher Dunn, with 49 years of experience in high-tech manufacturing, measured the interior surfaces of 2 sarcophagi. He used an industrial measuring device accurate to 2/10,000ths of an inch. The results astounded him. The walls were so flat they could only have been achieved by the most advanced modern CNC, computer numerical control, machinery. The corners maintained an exact 90-degree angle, and the radius at the angles was a mere 4 millimeters, a level of sophistication almost beyond belief. When Dunn contacted an American company, asking them to create a similar sarcophagus from a single block of granite, the response was unequivocal. Even with an unlimited budget, they would have to assemble it from 6 separate stone slabs. Yet, ancient Egyptian artisans carved each sarcophagus from a single, monolithic block, quarried from Aswan, a distance of 800 kilometers from Saqqara. Most of these stone blocks had a Mohs hardness of 6, some were even crafted from diorite, a significantly harder type of rock. The tunnels leading into the Serapeum are so narrow that 2 adults can barely pass through. How then were these 100-ton blocks rotated around sharp corners and lowered into rock niches with clearances of only 40 centimeters? Science remains completely silent on this question. There simply isn't enough space for levers or a team of workers, and the ancient Egyptians, according to historical accounts, did not possess hydraulic systems. An unfinished sarcophagus still sits abandoned in the middle of a tunnel, as if the builders simply ceased work and departed forever. The crudely carved hieroglyphs on the exterior surfaces of these sarcophagi contrast sharply with the mirror-like polish of their interiors. This suggests that the inscriptions might have been created by different people, thousands of years after the sarcophagi themselves were fashioned. If you find conventional history lessons rather dull, delve deeper here. To achieve this, it contained two eccentrically mounted gears, a true differential gear, similar to the component that allows car wheels to rotate at different speeds when turning. The teeth of each wheel were cut with a precision unattainable by hand filing. The triangular teeth were perfectly uniform, as if stamped by a machine. Inscriptions on the back, recently deciphered thanks to CT technology, turned out to be a detailed user manual. Lost pointers on the front likely bore colored spheres, fiery red for Mars, gleaming yellow for the Sun. Researchers from University College London hailed the original as a masterpiece of genius, combining Babylonian astronomy with the mathematics of Plato's Academy. Whoever assembled this device undoubtedly possessed an understanding of the cosmos at a level the rest of humanity would take another 20 centuries to attain. The Roman orator Cicero, in the 1st century BC, once described a similar device created by Archimedes in Syracuse. This suggests that the Antikythera mechanism was not a singular wonder. It belonged to a grand, forgotten tradition of engineering, of which only one copy has survived to this day. Modern metallurgy has yet to precisely replicate the combination of composition and durability found in this pillar. 6 tons of iron, without a single gram of paint, still stand majestically under the sky, winning a battle that our entire industry is currently losing. The secret of manufacturing this cup was buried with the fall of the Roman Empire, and the Lycurgus cup remains the only surviving witness. Today, researchers are attempting to use this ancient principle to create ultra-sensitive water pollution detection devices. A technology born from lavish banquets could save millions of lives, 17 centuries after its initial invention. This accidental find marked the beginning of uncovering the Terracotta Army, a force of over 8,000 life-sized warriors crafted from terracotta. While all statues stand at human height and no two faces are identical, surprisingly, only 8 fundamental facial molds served as the basis for their heads. These figures stand sentinel over the tomb of Qin Shi Huang, China's first unified emperor, a monumental undertaking that enlisted 700,000 laborers for its construction. Remarkably, less than 1% of this vast complex has been unearthed to date. However, the statues themselves are not the most astounding aspect. Rather, it is their weaponry that truly captivates. Excavations have yielded over 40,000 bronze arrowheads, swords measuring up to 95 centimeters, spears, and intricate crossbow components. Despite being buried for 2,200 years, these sword blades retain their brilliant luster and astonishing sharpness, appearing as though freshly forged. For 4 decades, researchers attributed this remarkable preservation to a unique coating, based on the discovery of chromium traces on the bronze artifacts. This finding appeared almost unbelievable, considering that chromium plating techniques were not patented in Europe until the 20th century. Nevertheless, a collaborative study conducted by University College London and the Museum of the Terracotta Army in 2019 thoroughly debunked this theory. The chromium detected on the blades was, in fact, a result of contamination from the lacquer applied to the wooden handles and bamboo grips. This meant it bore no relation to the preservation of the bronze metal itself. The genuine secret actually resided in the specific composition of the bronze alloy, characterized by its elevated tin content, and in the unique properties of the surrounding local soil. The alkaline loess soil, featuring fine particles and minimal organic matter, proved to be an optimal environment for safeguarding the metal. We will unearth the ultimate mysteries that textbooks cannot explain. Why do you think a coffin for a bull would necessitate such surgical precision? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Replicas made of bronze, when buried in the indigenous soil, remain perfectly preserved after 4 months of rigorous experimental conditions. In stark contrast, identical samples interred in English soil for the same period showed significant signs of corrosion. The skilled craftspeople of the Qin dynasty, 22 centuries ago, instinctively selected an alloy and a surrounding environment that together acted as an ideal preservation system. Though unaware of terms like electrochemistry or alkaline corrosion, their craftsmanship has survived countless empires that followed. 40,000 blades now rest in darkness, poised for their rediscovery, as if awaiting an unrevoked command. Of the remarkable accounts you've just read, which one left you the most astonished? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section below. We've explored Egypt's subterranean mazes and descended into the Mediterranean's profound depths. We've examined the Delhi iron pillar firsthand and peered into Roman cups, observing dancing nanoparticles. We've handled a 2-millennia-old battery and even attempted to operate a 5,000-year-old stone turbine. Every one of these extraordinary discoveries is thoroughly documented scientifically and meticulously preserved in museums, readily accessible for your visit as soon as tomorrow. There's no need to rely on mere hearsay or anecdotal evidence. Simply book a flight, step through the doors, and witness these marvels with your own eyes. Not a single one of these findings necessitates invoking extraterrestrial intervention for an explanation. Yet, each new revelation compels us to confront an uncomfortable reality. Our forebears possessed insights and expertise that we are only now, after countless millennia, beginning to re-uncover. What we label as breakthroughs might have been considered mere craftsmanship by them. Perhaps societal progress doesn't follow a linear, upward trajectory. Instead, it might resemble a spiral, with each new revolution originating from a similar state of initial ignorance. The genuine enigma isn't how they accomplished such feats, but rather why this knowledge faded from our collective memory.